The Silvan encampment sprawled across the plains before the city gates of Eauare. It was a symbol of resistance against Alpine domination, a brave place where brave leaders had made their stand against injustice and won. In all but deed. At the heart of the settlement, the command tent still stood. The council of elders had met with princes and captains, with a warlord, too, and had decided great things, achieved great things. In all but deed. It was quiet there, as one would expect it to be at this time of night. Everyone was inside, asleep or unwilling to know who had come in the dark. No one would think that just minutes away there were hundreds of wounded lying in makeshift beds under makeshift shelters that looked more like stables than any healing hall. An elf lit candles which stood on long, decorative stands laden with heavy drops of wax like molten rock dried too quickly. 3 wood-carved candelabras sat equidistant from each other down the long rectangular table where treaties had been signed, urgent missives penned, and allies had shared worried words, angry words, and then elated words. Light slowly illuminated the tent, lending a sense of warmth to the place as the flame gathered strength and the wax began to melt. But none of that mattered to Fel'annár. His world was still as dark as the day Bandoran had blinded him. They had not been expected, not at this time of night, not after what had happened just hours ago at the healing halls within the city walls. The elf cast furtive glances at the cloaked and hooded newcomers who stood quietly by, waiting for him to finish his work, waiting for the council of elders to come. But he especially watched the one whose silvery hair had escaped the confines of his concealing garments, his ample hood casting his face into deep shadow.
"Warrior,"
a woman's voice from the center of the group. The elf turned to her, stepping closer.
"Ask Tari Christine to come, if you will."
"Of course, it may take a while. All our healers are busy."
"I know. Tell him Tari Liniel is here."
He bowed to the Tari he knew was the warlord's wife, and then left to do her bidding, wishing he could stay and hear what news the visitors bore. Fel'annár heard the elf's boots make for where he knew the tent flap was, saw his light as it winked out. But as the candles began to burn in earnest, the pitch black before his eyes lightened to a charcoal gray, except when an elf came into his sight that was not his own.